Hello there, welcome to round 6 Monaco of season 1 of my 2012 career mode. I am Lovesbuds and Mr. Davidson is here with a Monaco hot lap.
Okay, here we go, a lap of Monaco, the busiest circuit you'll ever drive in the whole calendar of Formula 1. Out of the last corner, open up the straight as much as you can. DRS and KERS available on the run down towards turn 1. Bumpy, under braking and in the shadows of the buildings. Watch the exit curb as well and the barrier as you run up the hill now towards turn 3. Clip the left and then the right, and now down through the gears, hugging the inside there. Don't let the car understeer too much, because on the right-hander you want to open it up. On the run down the hill now, very easy to lock the inside right as it hangs in the air around turn 5. Down towards the hairpin, first gear. Hug the inside corner as much as you can and then straighten up before turning right and using that curb that's available on the right-hand side there. Now the next right-hander that comes up before the tunnel, let your eyes readjust, hold it flat out through the tunnel now, clipping the apex and letting the car run out wide. The burst of light comes at you as you brake at the 100-meter ball, flick the car left and then right through the chicane, and now you run the car to the right-hand side as close to the barriers as you can before flicking the car left and using all of the available circuit at the swimming pool section, left and then right again, brake in a straight line, get as close to the barrier on the right and use that curb on the exit on the left as well. Now into the infamous Rascasse corner, the double apex right-hander. Very important to keep the car nice and straight on the exit there before this final corner. Don't use too much of the exit curb, and that's a very busy lap of Monaco.
So yes, that's how you do it, and this is how I've done it. And yes, it is raining again, as it does with every practice, qualifying or race session on this game so far. So until the patch gets released, I'm going to have to put up with this. But here we are, going up the hill. We've actually managed to get into Q3, and the fact that it's raining is not going to get us any higher than 10th, I don't believe. But our objective was to only finish 12th, so that's not really a problem. But let's see what sort of lap I can put in, even though it's going to be a bit damp in some places. I think the only place I'll have grip is in the tunnel, where it's undercover. As you see, I was a bit of a slide out trying to go through there. So I'm trying to be careful, but trying to be fast at the same time, and that's really not easy for me, considering I've had to change difficulty down to professional. But still, I'd like to go back up to legend difficulty eventually. So it's well, it depends what this new professional level is going to be like. And if the new professional level is good enough for me, then I'll stick with it. You see, the lap's going okay, getting a few lockups here and there. Going around swimming pool and now around to Rascasse. Certainly went better than some of my previous attempts around that corner. But running straight for the line, it looks like it's going to be 1:25.8. Yeah, and that, my friends, is only good enough for 10th, about 2 seconds off 9th place. I decided not to go out again because it would be easier to save my tyres, because I believe the race is dry. So I didn't bother going out again to set a faster lap, especially now it's raining harder as well. So there you go. So here we are in the race. It's a long old race, 20 laps. So as we wait for the lights to come on, getting ready to go. And we're off. Moving over slightly, Hulkenberg gets a not so good a start as me, and I'm a bit aggressive in here to the first corner. Luckily I didn't get any penalties or knock anyone off or cause any sort of safety car, which doesn't seem to want to appear as much as the last game, and even then that was quite rare. So up behind Maldonado now, we're in our objective place, which is 8th. Hopefully we can do a bit better than that, because we definitely want to beat our teammate as well for the teammate challenge. So we come around the hairpin. It's all a bit touch and go where we can move up a few positions, because it's very difficult to overtake on Monaco. There's only about 1 or 2 overtaking places, and even then they're a bit tight, which I'm about to demonstrate now, because I'm going to try and go up the inside of Maldonado into the little chicane here. Or not. I'll tell you what, if I was closer then I would have done it. I was a bit off the pace. I think I'm trying to not go into the back of people, so which is why I'm being a bit apprehensive. So yeah, So we're sort of settling into this now. We're going to try and make up a few positions before they run away from me, as if they do run away from me. I think I'm on the pace a bit more now. I'm in professional. I mean, I'm not up to legend speed just yet, but hopefully the new professional level will be good enough for me. But at least now I'm sort of on the pace and have the opportunity to catch up a little bit. So it's looking good so far. I don't think I hit the barriers as many times as I did in 2011. I think the sort of the setup in 2011 was really twitchy and was causing me to go in the barriers all the time because I wasn't quite as smooth on the controller as I am on with this setup. So I'm going to try and go on the inside now, almost touching him really.
Careful, don't take out your teammate.
And a slight warning from my engineer there. I don't know what happened behind me, but it looked like someone tapped the back of something or the barrier. Which is fine by me, because as long as it wasn't my car it was involved, that's fine. Little tap on the bollard, as I love to do sometimes. But yeah, we got in front of Maldonado now, so that's I'm quite happy with that. I mean, what I'm really happy about is the fact that it's a dry race. A bit of frame rate issue going on there. And Alonso's out. Alonso crashed on the first corner of the third lap, of course, but still, Alonso is out. That won't do anything for his championship challenge. So as long as Hamilton can stay up in the points, you should be able to get back into the lead of the championship. That's if I believe he's in the lead. I think he is after the last race in Spain, which he won. So yeah, I'm quite happy on my pace at the moment. I seem to be, you know, they're not streaming away, but I'm not completely catching up with them just so yet. I mean, I don't really mind because these are McLarens and Red Bulls up front practically. So yeah, it's fine by me. And I got a comment from I got a comment in my last video about whether I'll be switching teams this year, and yes, that is definitely my plan. I don't really have a preference in which team it is. I mean, I'm hoping McLaren can offer me a contract eventually. I'm not expecting it after the first season, but as I said, I don't really mind which team it is as long as it's not going backwards. It's fine by me. Because I started off in Williams because someone sort of suggested I should, because I'd done the last 2 seasons in 2011 in a Williams, and to start off at Williams again just made a bit of sense, and it was harder, well, slightly harder to get the contract for them in the Young Drivers Test. Bit of a slide out there. So yeah, I'm open to contract offers, definitely. I mean, if anything, it would give you another car to look at rather than the Williams every time. But still, there you go. Looks like I'm sort of keeping it on the track nicely here. So what's been going on in the world of F1? Well, I tell you, the Grand Prix of America, that is the New Jersey Grand Prix at Port Imperial, New York. That's going to be postponed until 2014. I mean, not to be confused with the Circuit of Americas, which is happening this year in a few weeks' time. The New Jersey race was penciled in for 16th of June, which is like the day after my birthday. But still, unfortunately, Bernie Ecclestone said that they wouldn't be racing there. Apparently they were too late to sort out some financial things. I mean, everything else was ready, everything else was fine, but in the end it came down to some sort of money arrangement for someone or something. I don't know what, because I don't know the details, but looks like it's definitely cancelled for 2013. which means there's going to be 19 races next year, which is, it's okay, but it's kind of a disappointment considering, you know, I guess there were a few other tracks that could have taken its place, but still, there you go. Another sliding moment there. I don't think I actually contacted the barriers there. I think it was just a weird sliding moment from the car. Maybe put the power down a little bit too early, I don't know. Sometimes the car can be a bit funny like that. Yeah, 19 races next year. It would have been nice to see the New Jersey race, but it's another circuit track, so I'd be very, unless it's as wide as, or almost as wide as Valencia, then I would have doubted there were going to be many overtaking opportunities and moves. But still, we'll see what it's like in 2014. Put that one to bed. I'm very interested to see how the cars do on the Circuit of the Americas in a couple of weeks' time, which is going to be in November, I think. Oh, yeah, because it's after Abu Dhabi this time. Well, I say this time, but before last year, Abu Dhabi was the second to last race, but now it's the third to last, where the United States has taken the second to last race position. I think it's probably just easier for the transport of the cars and all the equipment. It's easier for them to go from Abu Dhabi to the US and then down to Brazil, rather than going to the US, coming all the way back to Abu Dhabi and then going back all the way back to Brazil. I mean, I would sort of assume that's how the calendars worked out, because you got they may start the season in Australia, but then they go to Malaysia, and then they go to China, so it's progressively working westwards, and then the European part of the season all done in the middle, and then again they come out to Asia, Japan, Singapore, Korea and all that, and then they go back to India, then back to Abu Dhabi, then across the pond over to the US and the Americas. 2013 would have been a bit of a difference, because the New Jersey circuit being in the middle of June would have come in between Canada and Britain or something. I don't know. But then it would have come near Canada because they go over there in sort of June sort of time, so you know, it would have made sort of sense to put it there rather than anywhere else. But yeah, anyway, enough babbling on about that. As you can see, we're still in 5th, with a 5.8 second gap to Maldonado, so that's good for me. I can sort of relax a little bit, but as you can see, Hamilton and the others have gone away a bit, mostly through a couple of mistakes I've made, a couple of sliding moments. And Button's out in front, which is a stark contrast to what he actually did in real life, actually stuck behind a Caterham in the period of his bad performances. But I do kind of believe that was down to the car rather than the driver, because he obviously got back up to the front and winning the race in Spa this year. So it's unfortunate for him that his championship was ruined by that terrible mid-season run. But let's see what he can do in 2013 alongside Mr. Perez. And how many times have I heard the commentators talk about Perez going to McLaren? Jeez, if anyone didn't know by now, then they sure do now. They've got such a thing for Perez going to McLaren. It's unreal. Kind of gets annoying after a while. They keep repeating it. I mean, yes, we know he's going to McLaren. Let's talk about the other drivers. Let's see what they're doing. I mean, I know it's because they're a top team, and you know, it's all the eyes are on him. But you know, I just prefer to wait until see what he does next year. Then I'll make my judgment on him. I mean, as as I said before, he's got bags of potential, so hopefully he'll do well. So Spuds is on a 120.3. That's actually the fastest lap so far.
3 seconds is the gap to you in the next car. 3 seconds.
So I've suddenly caught up to the guys in front, but I think that may be down to a couple of back markers. Because I don't think they should be going that slow. Yeah, I think there's a back marker ahead there. Looking at the map as well. Looks like there's a few dots in the way. Let's see if we can spot him. I think Lewis is out in front now. Got past the two bits of traffic. So it's my turn to negotiate them safely, which is kind of scary on a street track, considering they don't always get out of the way.
Their crew are getting ready.
But, of course, I forgot about the pit stop, so that eases the pressure slightly. Hopefully he'll get held up a little bit. And then I can sort of maybe leapfrog him in the pits. So Maldonado is going to go straight past because it's my turn to go in and pit. And they're not going to the Red Bull stacking or Ferrari stacking, whatever it was. I think it was Ferrari. But now the challenge is to stay within that yellow line, which I slow right down for because I really don't want to get a penalty for it. So we got away with that one. Fresh cold tyres sort of catching me out a bit, so I ended up going wide and hitting the barrier slightly. Not a big deal. Well, it would be a big deal in real life when where you could break the suspension on the wheels, but on like that as well. But after all, this is only a game, so I can't complain too much. So we came out in 9th, just behind Vettel, who should probably be pitting soon. If he hasn't, actually he might have pitted already, to be honest, because I think the Red Bulls are up in front, or at least Vettel anyway. So a couple of cars are going to come into the pits. Most notably Maldonado. As long as I get in front of him, that's fine by me.
We have a gap of about 3 seconds between you and the next car.
3 seconds to Schumacher, so I'm not under any immediate threat just yet.
Okay, times are looking good. You're matching the race.
I mean, not that it matters because DRS zone in Monaco is all but useless.
There are quite a few cars in the pits right now. Watch out for cars exiting the pits.
And yes, you're right on the gearbox of the next car coming out of the last corner. You know, then you're not going to get very far with DRS, just because of mainly how narrow the track is. You got to have some serious balls to make a move in some places. So who's that up in front? Looks like Rosberg to me, with a gap of 2.4 seconds. Let's see if I can catch up to him. Just over halfway now. Screaming through the tunnel at 150 odd miles an hour. And obviously didn't do that very well. Tried to slow down, but I still managed to get a corner cut in for that.
His times will be slightly slower than normal.
Got a bit of an opportunity to catch up to Rosberg here because he's on fuel conservation mode, according to my engineer. Apparently I got good pace as well. I don't know what the other guy's fastest laps were. I think I was the last one to set a fastest lap. I'm not entirely sure. There's a lot of information to take in here, considering I'm also going through the F1 news as well. I don't think there's any other news to report, to be quite frank. Yeah, main headline, New Jersey postponed until 2014. But there we go. Stuff happens. And also Pirelli have announced the tyres for the last few races, which are mostly well, you got the hard and soft for India tyres, and Abu Dhabi's medium and soft. United States, they're going to use the hard and medium, and Brazil they're going to use the hard and medium tyre as well. So fair dues. I wonder if they got that matched up into the game. I think they had to patch something recently. Well, for the PS, not the PS, the PC users. They changed a couple of the tyres for one of the later races when the game when the game was made. It was sort of made before most of these races and tyre allocations and that. So they put a small patch in, or a small fix in, to change the tyre allocations for one of the races. So you might see that once the new console patch comes out. Hamilton goes slightly faster on 120.309. It's about around about 7 to 8 hundredths of a second faster. Which I'm pretty pleased about. I'll take that because I'm sort of on the pace, so to speak. And once the fuel load dwindles, should become slightly faster anyway. So it looks like I'm sort of on the pace of the top guys, which I do like on a street circuit. On a high-speed circuit, I'd understand if they were that much, quite a bit faster than me. But on a street circuit, it sort of levels the playing field a little bit, even though the top guys are still going to be at the top. And obviously Monaco is a bit more of a procession. Well, I say a bit more of a procession. It's always quite a procession. The only way you can get ahead in real life is mostly through the pit stops and the strategies, rather than overtaking moves on the circuit, because as you might have seen this year, it was just Mark Webber leading all the way, and a small train of cars to the finish line. Things would have been spiced up a bit if it had rained before the end of the race, but it didn't, so it ended up finishing as it does. Or did. I have a phone ringing. So please ignore that, because I need to pause the video. No I don't, She's stopped ringing. God damn. So I'll call them back in a moment. Methinks. So, I'm just seeing who was calling there. So we're in 5th. Yeah, so we're still in 5th. We can see Rosberg a bit more clearer now, so we're sort of catching up. And I don't know if that's a reaction to me getting closer, or just a point of the race where they do switch up to rich fuel mix, but Rosberg has turned up the engine to fuel mix 3, so we're going to have a harder time to try and catch up and overtake him. But considering I'm in, I don't know what fuel mix I'm in, probably 2 or 3, probably 2. If someone comes out of the pits, they're probably going to get in my way. Yep, thanks a lot. That cost me a bit of time. In that sort of circumstance, he should have stayed to the right and not come over until I got past. But no. As I start hitting the barriers a bit more frequently. And due to that, Rosberg has now increased the gap to 3.8 seconds. Grosjean is behind us. Oh dear God. He's 12 seconds away, so he can't do too much at the moment. Oh, quite a big lock-up going to the chicane there, but we didn't cut the corner at least. And flat spotting, definitely not a feature in this game, as I completely mess it up. I'm so glad I didn't lose my front wing though. I don't know how I didn't. Yes, as I say, flat spotting, not a feature. It'd be nice if they could implement that as well. That would be pretty cool for the realism. I very much doubt they would, but you never know. I think once this next generation of consoles comes in, they could probably do a bit more, because let's be frank, the consoles are holding the PC back. They could do a lot more on PC than they can do with the consoles, and they always will do, because PC is constantly evolving. Consoles, you can't just go out and buy an upgrade. And that's no fault of the developers, but if you're going to do a multi-platform game, you have to meet the constraints of the slower performing hardware. I mean, anything for the Wii is just a special case. You have to do something completely different for that, but because the PS3 and the Xbox are the closest, well, they are computers practically. Let's be frank, they are computers, but they're computers that can't be upgraded easily apart from the hard drive. So yeah, obviously, as I say, they're constrained to it a bit. So let's see what sort of improvements and upgrades they can bring to the next few Formula 1 games, if Codemasters are still holding the license at the end of 2013 or something. But that's for another time. For now, it's 2012, and this is F1 2012. So we'll keep going with this. As you can see, my driving has gone slightly to pot. So I've gone back down to standard mix, probably to stop my wheel spinning so much. But that is a back marker there. It's definitely not Rosberg, because Rosberg has gone off and created a 6.8 second gap. As we come through into the tunnel, I believe that's an HRT in front, so that must be Karthikeyan. I wonder if he'll be racing next year, because there are plenty of seats that aren't really confirmed for next year, so it'd be interesting to see who gets what. I think De La Rosa is pretty much staying there. I think because he's the senior driver and he's the one who can give the most feedback because of his amount of experience that he has in F1. Because he's been around for yonks. But Karthikeyan, you never know, he might be still there, but they might give someone else a try next year. And talking of Williams, I wonder if I very much doubt Senna will hold on to his seat, to be frank, because Maldonado is not going to be replaced anytime soon. At least I don't think so. And Bottas, the reserve third test driver, whatever you want to call him, has actually been faster than Maldonado on a couple of occasions, so they might be curious enough to actually give him the opportunity to drive next year and replace Bruno Senna. So I wonder where Senna will end up. I mean, unfortunately, I don't think he's going to go forwards. I think he'll probably go backwards to one of the back marker teams if he stays in. But obviously, once I know, you'll know, probably before me anyway, because I'll include it in my videos, and because most of the time my videos aren't daily uploads, then that might be yesterday's news, old news. But obviously I will cover the topics and offer my thoughts and opinions if I have any. Oh wow, lap 19. I was yammering away there, didn't notice that we were on the penultimate lap. We're not going to catch up to Rosberg. It's probably a bit much to ask to get 5.3 seconds, especially now I've got a back marker in the way as well. Several cars in the way actually. I think Rosberg did actually get held up there. Go up on the inside of Glock, come up behind Peak. It shouldn't be too bad. I wish he would move out of the way. I think there's probably a computer calculation going on there, depending on what side of the car that I'm on when I'm trying to overtake him. So he either stays on one side or moves to the other. I don't know, but in some corners when you're trying to overtake, they tend to sometimes move over off the racing line, which can get a bit confusing and which can draw a lot of frustration out from some people. But there you go. So here we are on the last lap. 20 laps of grueling racing. It's especially grueling considering it's a street circuit that is so narrow. But I'm quite proud that I haven't clipped the barrier as many times as I used to do. Massive lock up of the front left tyre, should I say. I do know my left from right, honest. See if we can't lock up. Yep, there we go. There's a lock up. I'm trying to take that corner as slow as I can, but I don't want to lose too much ground. But at least corner cuttings are only warnings. I don't do it often enough to warrant a penalty, so it's fine by me. Jenson Button has won the race. Really nice to see. I think the last time he won it was in 2009 in his championship year. But in the virtual world, he's won in 2012, and I have come home in 5th position. Sweet as biscuits. And then Maldonado finished in 17th, probably crashed into someone else again. So here's the results.
10 points. Good job.
5th for Mr. Lovesbuds with 10 points there. Started 10th on the grid, so moved up 5 positions. 2 McLarens at the top, on the 1-2. Vettel in 3rd, Nico Rosberg in 4th. And Maldonado there in 17th with Mark Webber in 16th. Not a great day for him. And Fernando Alonso crashing out on lap 3 on the first corner. Things didn't go to plan for him, that's for sure. So let's move on to the Drivers' Championship.
You've moved into 8th position in the Drivers' Championship.
I've moved into 8th position in the championship, as the guy said. I'm on 28 points, 73 behind the leader Lewis Hamilton, who is on 101 points. Alonso slips to 2nd because of his retirement. Maldonado's done in 13th there with 12. So we're beating him so far, which is good for me, good for my position in the team, hopefully good for some contract offers as well. And in the constructors, McLaren are still leading quite commandedly, with a gap of 47 points to Ferrari. Williams, my team, down in 6th with 40 points, only 4 behind Mercedes. And so of course the last thing to do is to say goodbye now and join me for the next round, round 7, which is in Canada, I believe. So yeah, I'll see you next time.